So I watched that animated movie Hoppers a couple weeks ago. I remember seeing trailers for it when it was coming out a couple months ago, and just didn't look all that interesting to me. The trailers didn't really grab me. I gotta say, this movie pleasantly surprised me. I actually thought this was a solid, good, entertaining Pixar movie. Not one of the best movies. I wouldn't call it great, and it's not one of those movies that's gonna end up being one of my favorite movies of the year or anything like that. Overall, though, I had a fun time with Hoppers. When it comes to the negatives, there's two negatives I have with the movie. Is that sometimes the humor, the jokes didn't always land for me personally. There was times where I did find some of the jokes funny, and then there's other times where the humor didn't always work for me. And then the second negative thing for me with this movie is that the pacing did feel a little uneven at times. So I felt like we were moving just a little bit too fast at times. Not to an extreme point where it felt like we were speeding through stuff, just like there was just times where the pacing was just a little unbalanced for me. When it comes to the positives with this movie, I think the cast do a great job. They all do a great job when it comes to the performances, voicing the characters. I think the movie looks great animation wise, and I did grow attached to the main character throughout the movie. The character Mabel. At first, she's a little much at the beginning for me, and then as the movie goes along, I really felt invested in the character and her wanting to protect this place that her grandmother took her to. And it actually the theme of the movie about where the movie's about protecting nature and the environment. It does it in a way where it's really interesting, compelling, and heartfelt. So I really end up feeling invested in the story too. And I think the supporting cast, they all do a great job, like I said, with the voice cast. There's a character in the movie that John Hamm plays, and he's the bad guy in this movie, the Scream Mayor. Even though he's a bad guy, by the end of the movie, I really actually felt like I really liked his character by the end of the movie. I kind of felt invested in his character too. Like he starts off as like this typical greedy mayor who's like the bad guy. At the end of the movie, by the end of the movie though, I kind of was like, oh, he's really funny his character, and I actually really liked his character at the end of the movie. And then when it comes to just the whole the whole story, I think it really like the story does a they do a good job with the story where it got me invested in the story about protecting the environment and her whole relationship with her grandmother. And the humor, there were some funny moments in this movie. Like even though the humor didn't always land for me, there were some jokes in this movie that I did find funny. Like there's these jokes with the nature, like the nature law of nature with the animals. How you have other animals trying to eat each other, and I thought that there was some funny jokes there that I actually thought was really funny. Where a bear eats a, I think I remember the bear eats a fish in one scene, and I thought that was a really funny moment. And it was just there's some moments that I thought was just actually the jokes did land for me. And when it came to when the character Mabel goes into a robotic beaver, there was some just I thought the movie has some fun moments in here where I did find it really fun too at the same time. And I also really like the tone in this movie. I really love how the first half feels lighthearted and fun, and then the second half goes really dark. Like I was like, because at first the first half feels like a typical Pixar movie, and it feels like okay, this is like feels like a kids movie, and then the second half goes really dark, and I'm like, oh, like I don't know if I would take my kids to see the second half of it, like to see this whole movie, because the second half goes like really into more of a darker emotional dressing where the story goes. And like I was enjoying the first half. The second half though, I was like, oh man, if this whole movie was like this could have ended up being like this could have ended up being one of those anime movies that I love. Because the second half I was like, damn, this gets really emotional and deep. And I love how they like flip the tone on its head between the first half and second half of the movie. And like even when you like the even though May is like one of the two bad guys in this movie, when you see one of these animals who ends up being a real bad guy, like the enemy, the villain in the movie, that animal I even found kind of scary. And but I was like, damn, this might be a little dark for kids. So it goes like a tone wise, it goes actually dark in the second half of this movie, so I enjoy. So overall, I thought this was just a fun, solid, entertaining Pixar movie. I would say go watch Hoppers, honestly. because this is one of those movies that I remember just not being interested in checking out based on the trailers. And I'm a Pixar fan, and this is one of those movies I would say next to 20 years later, The Bone Temple, which I had no excitement for that movie, and that ended up being great. I would say this is the second most surprised movie of the year for me, where I was like, ah, this was a pleasant surprise. I would recommend Hoppers, and I think if you're looking for just a good, solid, entertaining Pixar movie, I would say go check out Hoppers. So that's my thoughts on Hoppers. Until next time, movie fans.